Welcome to Pondering Passages. I'm Curt Austin. My good friend David Mullins is going to join us shortly, and we are pondering Psalm 27 today. It is a fantastic, it's such a good psalm, and we just couldn't give it enough time. There's so much we could talk about. We could do probably 3 straight weeks and talk about the different aspects of that. But we'd love for you to join us, come back, talk with us more about it, and join that conversation. We'll see you then.
Welcome to Pondering Passages. We're taking a look at Psalm 27. I'm here with my very good friend and confidant, Curt Austin. How you doing, Curt?
I thought you said confidant.
I did, confidant.
Okay, confidant.
We're going to share a coffin one day.
That's what I was thinking. You know what? That one coffin's. Oh shoot! Never mind.
You messed it up, man. You messed up.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing all right.
Good. I'm really glad. What did you think of 27? Was it the best thing you've ever read all week?
27. There's lots of stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I used my Bible app many days this week and had it read. You know, there's a guy who reads it in the Bible, and I love his voice. And it was just beautiful. It was a really nice way to experience it this week. I couldn't really take notes. There were a couple times it's like, oh, I wish I had my Bible out, but it worked. And
there's a couple of translation issues that come into play.
Oh, well, don't leave us hanging. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's jump in and take a look at this.
So this is, of course, very bland slides this week. Nothing fancy, just a Psalm of David. But it'll get the job done. So, the Lord is my light and my salvation, so why should I be afraid? The Lord is my fortress, protecting me from danger, so why should I tremble? When evil people come to devour me, when my enemies and foes attack me, they will stumble and fall. Though a mighty army surrounds me, my heart will not be afraid. Even if I'm attacked, I will remain confident.
Yeah, I really like this because it's like a ramping up. In verse 2, you have evil people. And then he goes from evil people to enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes from enemies into a mighty army.
That's great. I hadn't caught that. That's really interesting. Is his imagination running away with him and he's just getting bigger and bigger? Or do you think?
I don't know. And again, it's the evil people devour me and the enemies attack me.
Mm-hmm.
And then mighty army surrounds me. So
my heart will not be afraid.
Yeah. My heart will not be afraid. I love that. I kind of skipped over the first verse, but
so why should I be afraid? Whom shall I fear? I like verse 3 always reminds me of the story with Elijah and his servant when the army is all around and he keeps sending them out and saying, go look to the hills. And then the angel's army is made evident to him.
Yeah.
And I always
open
like
his
that.
eyes, let him see.
Yeah. I always like that. All right.
So this is a huge statement of trust he has here.
So in verse 4 through 6, the one thing I ask of the Lord, the thing I seek most is to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, delighting in the Lord's perfections and meditating in his temple. Mm-hmm. For he will conceal me there when troubles come. He will hide me in his sanctuary. He will place me out of reach on a high rock. Then I will hold my head high above the enemies who surround me. At his sanctuary, I will offer sacrifices with shouts of joy, singing and praising the Lord with music.
Yeah. Is that the one thing you ask of the Lord?
That was a challenge. That was actually a challenge. And it was actually, there were a couple moments this week where I was slightly distracted by life and things. And I thought of verse 4. I really did. It's like, if I were spending more time living in the house of the Lord and delighting in his perfections and meditating in his temple, I bet I wouldn't be thinking about these other things that are swirling around in my head. And I don't have armies surrounding me or, enemies attacking me or evil people trying to devour me. But I do have mundane first world problems that keep me from focusing on God the way I should.
Yeah. For me, the key is this is the thing I seek the most. And, Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. And, I realize that if his kingdom was the one thing I was seeking more than anything else, all this other stuff would really fall into
Mm-hmm.
place. Not that it falls into place, meaning that everything works out well. I give way too much priority to these other things.
Yeah.
And if my goal was really to seek God and his purposes in his way, then all of these distractions and all of this other stuff, would kind of have the importance that it should, not the importance I give to it.
And I don't think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's another ramping up here. I see.
Tell me all about it.
Hide me in his sanctuary. No. First, he conceals me. Then he hides me in the sanctuary, kind of like, when you're kids and you're playing sardines and stuff, I guess.
I love that game.
And then he will place me high out of reach. And I could just see, it's kind of, he's up high and they're jumping up trying to get to him. And it's like, oh, we can't reach him. We can't reach him. And he's like, I'm protected. I'm not just concealed. I'm not just hidden. I am protected and I will hold my head high. You guys can't get me, can you?
I like that. We were reading a couple of other passages in the last couple of weeks, not you and I, but some other friends and I, and there were a couple places where people are up on a high rock. They're moved to a high rock, and I thought that was really interesting. Not necessarily for protection, but God places them there, and I thought that was really interesting. That this was a kind of a repeating image that's being used throughout scriptures. I like it.
Yeah. And not only holding his head high above the enemies who surround him, but at his sanctuary I'll offer sacrifices with shouts of joy, singing, praising the Lord with music. And so there's a sense of relief and I
like that. Yeah, sense of relief.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with this because the sarcastic Curt just kept picturing what would happen if, like your church service on a Sunday morning, somebody just started going, whoop, whoop, ha, whoop. It would really disrupt some things, I think. It would become somewhat distracting and not being seen in that way. But, we had an old gentleman, I don't remember his name, back in farmland.
Cecil.
And sweet. No, wasn't Cecil.
Okay.
But he would always sit in the back because he didn't want to distract people. He'd get excited and he'd start waving his hanky. And he'd wave a hanky when he was really feeling it, and he didn't want to distract people. He was really thoughtful about that, and so, but he didn't shout too often. All right, verses 7 through 10. Hear me as I pray, O Lord. Be merciful and answer me. My heart has heard you say, "Come and talk with me," and my heart responds, "Lord, I am coming." Do not turn your back on me. Do not reject your servant in anger. You have always been my helper. Don't leave me now. Don't abandon me, O God of my salvation. Even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord will hold me close. Now, I did have a question about this.
Okay.
If God is calling him and he's responding, why then in verse 9 does he then call God, don't turn your back on me? You're calling me to come and talk with you, so I'm going to do that, but whatever you do, don't turn your back on me. Why do you think he would do that?
Well, that's one of the issues with the translation. Some of the other translations have it a little differently. And the question is this something that God is saying or something that the person's sensing? I think I'm trying to be fair to what I saw in there. So yeah. So I don't know if that helps or not.
I don't know that I buy that, but okay. And when you read,
What do you mean, whether you buy it?
well, do not turn your back on me. Okay, I can see God saying that, but then the next line is, "Do not reject your servant in
No,
anger."
it's the my heart has heard you say. That's the one.
Oh, because verse 7 says, "Hear me as I pray, O Lord." So my
Yeah.
prayer is, "Come and talk to me, God." My heart is saying, "Lord, I am coming to you."
Yeah, but I do, I do have a sense because maybe some of the other translations I've read throughout, different times, it's like I have heard you say, "Come and talk with me," and my heart responds, "Lord, I'm coming." So
Mhm.
basically, God's asking me to come talk. God's taking the
That-
initiative, and I'm saying yes. So I was a little disappointed when I read this
oh, here it
because
comes.
it's like my heart is saying, "Wait, so I'm saying that I want the Lord to want me to talk to." So, it was a little bit more convoluted for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't leave, but now, don't leave me now, O God of my salvation. Even if my
Yeah.
father and mother abandon me, the Lord will hold me close.
Yeah.
That's going to ring true for some folks,
Yeah.
right?
If you
Who
leave me
maybe
now,
have experienced that.
yeah. If you
You
leave me
take away
now,
the biggest
you're
part
going to
of
take the
me.
greatest part of me or the biggest part of me. Ooh, baby.
Oh my gosh.
This is where they got it from. This is where Chicago gets all of their songs.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
They're just rewriting the
The
Psalms.
the other translation issue is in the same thing. When it says, "Even if my father and mother abandon me," some translations do not have the if. It's
Oh,
even my
th-
father and mother have abandoned me. The Lord will hold
hmm.
me close. So, which is horrid if you think about it. But yet, as you said, some people do experience of that. And so
Yeah.
the psalmist is basically saying, even if mom and dad abandon me, I know that you won't, which I think it makes a stronger statement.
I think absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely it does. Um, yeah. I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Is absolutely it does.
Yeah.
All right, in verses 11 through 14, teach me how to live, O Lord. Lead me along the right path, for my enemies are waiting for me. Do not let me fall into their hands, for they accuse me of things I've never done. With every breath, they threaten me with violence. Yet I am confident I will see the Lord's goodness while I'm here in the land of the living. Wait patiently for the Lord. Be brave and courageous. Yes, wait patiently for the Lord. That's gold right there.
It
That's
is.
that's
It
good
is.
stuff.
And once again, the police, every breath, they take.
Every breath. That's right.
So yeah.
It's amazing. So I really loved. I mean, of course, verses 11 and 12 are kind of calling God to kind of take me under your wing, teach me, lead me. Um, but I love 13 and 14.
Yeah.
I just think they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And 13 is used a lot, right? I mean, we've heard that in services. We hear that in, I don't know, do we hear that in, is that a passage used in funeral services? I will see the Lord's goodness while I'm here in the land of the living. Probably not.
Gosh, I
That's
don't
too
know.
late.
Not that I what?
It's too late at that point.
Yes, it really is. Uh,
I don't know where I've heard that in a service of some sort, and it's just a beautiful passage
yeah.
here in the land of the living.
Yeah. I read someone's reflection on this passage who ended up finding out they had cancer when they were younger and ended up having both legs amputated and then a fear for their life. And so they said, I really identified with this passage in particular of the Psalms.
Mm.
And just, it's really like as he ramps stuff up, it's like things are closing in, but yet there's this trust there at the same time that, even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord won't abandon me. And
Yeah.
so, when you're at your lowest,
Yeah.
that trust is verse 13 and 14.
Hmm.
I'm confident I will see his goodness while I'm here in the land, not after I'm gone, but even here, I can see his goodness. And so I wait patiently. I'm going to be brave and courageous, because to wait patiently, sometimes you have to be brave and courageous.
Hmm. And the fact that they repeat that, right? Wait patiently. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait patiently. And I love it's reminiscent for me, at least, of God's uh, instruction to Joshua, right? Be
Mm.
strong and courageous. He
Yeah.
tells him strong and courageous. But courageous is an interesting word, right? Be of courage.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if brave and courageous are similar in their true root meaning, but certainly there's a call to not be influenced by what's all around you. Instead, wait patiently on the Lord. Right? I will see it. I will see it. Be patient.
Yeah.
Be brave. Be strong. Be patient.
Yeah.
What a great challenge for us.
Oh, it is. I mean, we often talk about what's the formative question. Well, there's so many here.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What is this psalm calling me to do in the midst of what I'm facing? Because
Mm,
everyone listening is going to be facing something different. That brave and courageous is going to look different depending on what situation you find yourself in. Or maybe you're at the point where you see the goodness of God in the land of the living. So, I mean, there's just, or maybe you're feeling like things are closing in. At first you're talking
yeah.
about evil people. It's like, no, they're more like enemies and foes. No, you know what? It's really an army.
It's a whole army.
It's a whole army. It's like everyone's against me. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's you and I have experienced this. I'm sure of it. I don't know of any particular in your life, but what starts on Monday like a group of evil people turns into be enemies by Wednesday, and by Friday it's the whole army, right? I mean, it
yeah.
really does
Or
ramp.
by
It can ramp up.
yeah, by Monday night, it's like, because you're at a different place, you don't have as much energy to deal with it. It's like, oh my gosh, everything just went wrong today. No, not
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. But
Most
in your
things.
perspective, yeah.
Yeah,
But doesn't matter how big it is. The ending call is that formative direction of be patient, be brave, be
and
courageous,
and
be
allowing,
patient.
we didn't spend a lot of time, but allowing Jesus, or God, God through Jesus, to teach us and lead us. So there's just, I mean, I could spend a lot more time in Psalm 27.
You and I mean, in full disclosure, you and I did not just read this for 7 days. We kind of had to meet a little bit later than we had.
Yeah,
So we read this, for 8, 9, 10 days.
yeah, give
And
or take.
I was really glad. I was
Yeah.
really glad I had the extra time because I liked,
And, and I
liked the
already had
psalm.
I already had some of this highlighted, especially even if my mom and dad abandoned me. But then when I was reading through some of the textual stuff to see that
Mhm.
the if might not necessarily be there, it's like, oh wow. So
Yep.
if I'm so bad off that my mom and dad forsake me, God still hasn't.
Well, yeah, and that's, and a lot of children experience that, right? I mean, in some way or the other. And
Yeah.
so you go back and you think, what's that childhood trauma? They've done a lot of research about childhood trauma that there's a score, there's a test, and if you score a certain amount, you're much more predisposed to lots of diseases.
Mm,
Not just mental health issues, but I mean actual physical diseases are more likely based on how much trauma you've experienced. One of those is divorce of parents. One of them is being raised by a single parent. One of them is any abuse at all, physical, emotional. Um, and so you take this into the context. If you've experienced that in your life, there is one place where you can find hope.
yeah. And
You know,
healing. Yeah.
yeah, yes, both sides of that. Well, Dave, this has been wonderful. Thank you.
It has been.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for our URL.
Are you RL? So if you want, you can go to
There it is.
ponderingpassages.com and you can follow us there. There's been a new blog posted since we were all together last time. We've got Psalm currently on the website. If you're so eager as to get in there, you will have seen all of the Psalms leading up to this one. Psalm 26 will be
Starting with Psalm 69 because we
starting
did,
with Psalm
yeah,
69.
that's where we started. So not just 27 Psalms on there.
No. Yeah, we've got quite a few. And so,
90.
and we're ticking off, right? So we've got also on Facebook, you can see some pictures about Dave and I's, our trip this summer. We went out west together and had a wonderful time and really saw the glory of God while we were out there. Instagram, you can follow us on there. And all of our original videos are on YouTube. So feel free to join us on all of those things. So, Dave, this is another great week. Next week, 28.
That's the plan.
Let's do it. Next week, 20. Well, next week will work out perfect. So we'll plan on doing next week. And in the meantime, everybody have a great day. And we'll see you back here in about a week.